I would say it like this. The Americans have suddenly remembered that he wasn't a dictator just a month ago. So, are you saying that elections should be held a month after they were just held? How many years has Ukraine gone without elections? Also, there's this matter regarding the Ukrainians. Many of them are currently abroad. That is, make sure this is ready first. Then state that this text has 52 characters. Brother, we are giving you a lot of support, but this dictator image is not a pleasant one. Get ready for it. For those living abroad, similar to what Turkey has done, establish your consulates and embassies. Let's make sure they can vote. Right?
Ha ha ha. Well,
this could have been done by
Isn't this
them.
just hilarious? I cannot help but burst into laughter at this funny situation.
This individual, Zelensky,
truly, this is an incredibly amusing moment that I will remember for a long time.
Where was the last place Biden hosted him? Do you remember? Wasn't he entertained in the Senate?
Naturally.
Did not the entire Senate applaud standing? Did he not link up with the United Nations later?
Yes.
Wasn't there a video connection? Wasn't there a video connection to the European Union? Wasn't there a video connection to NATO? It's everywhere. About 3 months ago, he was acting like a hero. Wasn't it Zelensky? Well, here it is. I swear, we are experiencing a truly remarkable time. This is a remarkable time. You know, the youth. For instance, we teach the young about World War II. Isn't that right? Or you see, you explain how World War I started. You explain Sky Peacock, the fall of the Ottoman Empire. Young people might not grasp this. It could seem very far away to them. Right now. Do you see Sky Peacock? You are seeing the new versions of the Sky Peacock, you know. I think if I were a history teacher today, I would show Sky Peacock and the current version. What's the difference? America's interests say, brother, I want Denmark.
Yes.
And while saying he wants Denmark, who is he talking to? He is talking to Russia. There are 3 elements of the Sky Peacock of that time. Who are they? Tsarist Russia, England, and France were involved back then. They shared it. When Tsarist Russia fell, it gets deciphered. When the Bolsheviks arrived, they reveal it. That's how we learn. A sharing is already being made about this. Look, there is something like this now. What is Trump getting in return for conceding so much to Russia? What are they currently sharing? Should we not ask the question like that?
Yes. Let's have a clear conversation
with Russia. That is to say,
about America.
He says, I want Denmark, for example. He says he wants Denmark. But while saying he wants Denmark, he tells Russia and Ukraine to give up the lands they have already lost. Those lands are no longer yours either. He tells you to accept this. I mean, he doesn't refer to his own territory. He believes he has the right to abandon someone else's land while seizing it. If you abandon them, you won't be able to achieve peace. He also states that you are a dictator. It's exactly the period you know. This is the Scott-Picot era. Didn't they make similar statements about the Ottoman sultans back then? As if there are no empires in Europe anymore. Everyone is governed by democracy. Only the Ottomans have a sultan. Isn't that interesting? We are experiencing instances of this period, just like those from that era. Last time, we were together with you and Cihat Pasha, do you recall? We mentioned that we are experiencing a replica of the Crimean War in relation to the Ukraine War. In the Crimean War, we were to wage the Crimean War of that era. The supreme authority, we received assistance from France and England, and volunteers from other nations joined us as well. And a massive army managed to defeat Tsarist Russia back then. But who bore the cost of this? Do you know who paid for it? It was the Ottoman Empire at that time. The Ottoman had to approach the Public Debt Administration for its expenses. Now look, Zelensky, the Public Debt Administration is going there. Why? They are presenting all the debts of the loans given. And meanwhile, they are also losing land. What happened in the end? Subsequently, the Ottomans started losing many things. You began to give minority rights and other things because they began to create a system that could bring you down. I mean, I would take my students Brother, the results of the Crimean War during the Ottoman period and the results of the Ukraine war are identical. What has changed since then? Only the names of the imperialist nations have changed. Who was the top imperialist country then? England and France in Europe. Now who is it? Russia and the US. This time they are dividing it. What will the outcomes of this sharing be? How will it happen? What changes will this sharing bring about in geography? What challenges will we encounter as a result of this sharing? Are we going to see new regional conflicts? Will these regional conflicts be set off? The real question we should be asking from our perspective is, we've been talking about Syria from the beginning. We must discuss the consequences.
Subtitle.
We are talking about Gaza. We must discuss how the results of Gaza communicate with us. Today, looking at the Ukraine war, let's say it's finished. We will come back shortly. Then let's make our comments. Vladimir Zelensky, when he took office, let me put it this way. Did he normally have the ability to win the election?
They backed out. He certainly didn't win without America's help, right?
Did he have it in your view? What was his job? Do his actions fit the profile of someone who would lead during wartime? Typically, in such situations, either military figures or those with intelligence backgrounds who have worked in similar roles often step up.
Yes.
He is appointed as president.
So should we question why America turned away from Zelensky? They had wanted him to come after all.
Why? Because Zelensky couldn't win the war. He failed to enact the policies that would allow the war to continue.
MK.
So what is happening? It's like the Vietnam War. During the Vietnam War, America supported South Vietnam against North Vietnam. They backed South Vietnam until the end. What happened in the end? When South Vietnam realized it couldn't win and understood the cost would be too high for itself, it sold out South Vietnam in a single day, in just one day. It was sold in a day. It took about 20 days for South Vietnam to fall. It fell in 20 days. Now it's the same. Also in Ukraine. What did we say regarding Ukraine? I said Ukraine is like Vietnam for the new Russia.
Indeed, yes.
Initially, the same situation occurred with the Soviet Socialist republics or Russia at that time. The pain it inflicted on America, because for Americans, 1, economic collapse, 50,000 soldiers, about 300,000 wounded, 2,500 fighter planes. It cost 4,000 helicopters. It created a major drama. Now it's happening the same way in Ukraine. It did this to Russia. But the war in Ukraine cannot be pushed forward as desired.
Yes.
What happened? Zelensky is now in the position of South Vietnam. If you can't win, you don't need to stay.